So today we're here with the Aspinall Foundation. We are speaking with Sophia, Samantha, and Fiona, and we are so excited to get to know more about your foundation and what it is you do. So whoever feels the most comfortable telling us a bit more about what it is you do, please go right ahead.
I'm happy to take the lead on that, or we're sort of, I suppose, put our own experience and everything involved in it. So I look after the corporate partnerships who work with the foundation. Basically, the Aspinall Foundation is an animal conservation charity, and we believe that animals should not be kept in captivity and they should be back in their homeland. So we have partner parks down in Kent, which a lot of the animals are housed sometimes temporarily until we can find the appropriate forever home for them. And we work with various partners and individuals and some amazing people who want to be part of our community in helping to get these animals home, in a nutshell.
Yeah, just following on, so apologies, my camera froze just at the opportune moment earlier. Just following on from what Fiona said, so I head up the UK fundraising team. We all have our individual roles and responsibilities. We're a very small team, so my team heads up the marketing, so we're very much into campaign-led awareness for our different divisions. And part of that team, we've got Fiona looking after our corporate and philanthropy and high net worth individuals, and then we've got Donna in the team who looks after our individual givers. So we communicate with those, we steward them, give them regular updates about our projects, and we also work with the marketing team in other sort of PR and communications. And then Sophia works with our overseas team. Sophia, do you want to give an update with who sort of?
Absolutely. So I am the Overseas Projects Manager for the Aspinall Foundation, managing all of our global reintroduction projects in Congo, Gabon, Indonesia, Madagascar, South Africa, and much further afield than that as well. So we've got teams in each of the respective countries, and I support all of them with their ordering, their accounts, the logistics of moving animals around, rescue and relocation. And then I also work very closely for the Howlett's Wild Animal Trust, managing all of our animal transports in and out of our Kent parks. So the logistics of returning animals back to the wild is my domain as well.
Amazing. That is fantastic. You guys have a very international team. And I'm just curious, how do you stay communicated when you have team members of different backgrounds and everyone's handling different things? How do you stay connected?
So our main form of contact with all of our overseas projects is WhatsApp. It's such an easy tool for everybody to use. It's instant messaging as well, so we get updates straight off hot off the press, as they say. And obviously via email as well. We make regular trips to each of our projects. So my director, our overseas director, will make regular visits to each of our projects throughout the year. And we also have other professionals and experts that will travel to the projects depending on which animals we are moving, relocating, or which projects we're working on. So a whole team of global specialists.
And then my team, who are based in the UK, we'll transfer the photographs and the communications and the reports into communication to our donors and anyone who wants to hear about what the Aspinall Foundation are up to.
So speaking of communication, is the communication mostly geared towards the public, towards individuals, or is there also a part of communication which is towards politicians, that kind of...
I'm not quite sure. Well, the channel is obviously for anyone who's interested in our work. So we have more detailed reports for those who want it, but really it's for those who've got the same values as us and believe where possible the animals should be living in the wild and also protecting animals' habitats. So therefore our communication is going to that audience. I wouldn't say there was a direct link to politicians or specific charities or that type, but that our audience is for anyone who wants to know about our charitable work.
Right. So basically, you're it's more about education, correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I noticed also on your webpage, you have a lot about education and the importance of educating people, and I wonder if it's easier with certain animals to get people to recognize, okay, we need to help these animals, whereas other animals, they're not really seen as that important. I don't know if you notice these tendencies with people, that they might not understand how one specific animal can be in a zoo, but then another animal. I don't know if that makes sense, if I'm what I'm trying to say.
I think so. I think what you're saying is which projects people are more interested in. I mean, from our point of view, you can't value one life more than another, but we do have specific projects that we work in. Sophia, do you want to elaborate on that?
Yes, absolutely. So, as you say, there will be some species that our supporters and our donors are more interested in than others. So, we have a very, very successful gorilla reintroduction project, and we find that, you know, it's received very, very well by our individual givers, our major donors, our corporate sponsors. But that doesn't mean that we only focus on, you know, very focal species. We'll do big or small, we work with them all. So from, you know, elephants all the way down to bush babies, we will work with all sorts of different species, both in the UK and at each of our respective projects as well. And as Sam rightly said, we don't value one life more than another, but of course we do try to ensure that we're providing updates that our supporters and donors are interested in, and a lot of that is to do with our specific reintroduction projects focusing on a specific species.
I think going back to Sophia's point is, you know, we do have our hero animals, you know, we're best known and best loved for our care and love of the gorillas. And obviously that has a lot of curb appeal in terms of the donors and the engagement they want to have. After that, I suppose it's big cats of interest. But as Sophia said there, we look after everything from the elephants down to bush babies. So for us, it's all a passion, but we perhaps talk about some projects more than others.
So you guys also have breeding programs?
Yes, very successful breeding programs.
Could you tell us a little bit more about how that works and what you're doing?
Absolutely. So we are the world's most successful captive breeders of gorillas, clouded leopards, Javan langurs, African hunting dogs. You know, I could go on and on. But the European breeding programme is basically managed by the European Association of Zoo and Aquaria, EAZA, and each species has what's called a stud bookkeeper that makes a genetic analysis of the entire captive population and will make recommendations for animals to be translocated from institution to institution for breeding based upon the best viable genetics. So yes, there is absolutely an element of breeding, but it is a controlled element of breeding to a degree to make sure that we are not breeding or inbreeding animals unnecessarily.
You almost lost me there. It's very science heavy base. So that's very interesting that it's not just, you know, there's a lot of data backed behind the way you're doing the breeding.
Absolutely. It's a really intricate process. You know, animals aren't just bred for entertainment, particularly not by ourselves. They're always bred with a genetic viable purpose, and whether that is return to the wild or to be a flagship species in the parks that we work closely with. It's a very, very intricate process, and animals are not just bred for the sake of being bred.
And when, for example, if there's an animal that's been bred in one of the parks, does he or she ever get the chance to return to their natural habitat? Or
yes, and that is absolutely what we work towards. That is our main objective, is to afford captive born animals the opportunity to a wild and free life just as they deserve. So we have rewilded 27 gorillas from our UK parks. We've rewilded 8 rhino back to Tanzania and South Africa since 1995. They've now had over 25 babies and up to 60 descendants from those 8 animals alone. We also have returned 43 captive-born primates from our UK parks and from a partner park over in France to Java. So yes, that is our main objective, is to ensure that we are breeding genetically viable animals that can be returned back to their homelands if and when possible.
Samantha, on your end, could you tell us how do you communicate all this with the public?
Our main support to engagement document is a magazine which we're fiercely proud of called Wild Cry. It comes out twice a year. We send you a copy and has updates from all of our projects. And then we send a bi-monthly e-coms out, so very much about our different projects, ways you can help. And we're not just talking about financial help, we're talking about awareness. You know, you can get us on our social channels, you can do a fun run for us, you can do a bake-off. There's lots and lots of ways you can help us, not just with a financial benefit. One of the things Fiona does is get awareness out, not just to the wider audience, but also getting corporate assistance. So she's had many a corporate doing some fun runs for us, as well as nominating us for Charity of the Year. So we work with a wonderful partner called Spectrum Makeup Collection. We're their Charity of the Year this year. In fact, we've been their Charity of the Year for a couple of years now. And they do online donations for us, and they very much promote us on their social channels. And they've got quite a millennial audience, and it's a really nice way of getting our message out to more people. So really our lines of communication is social media, e-coms, and then working with partners on their platforms.
And do you promote also I noticed on your website you had an adoption program. Do you promote that a lot?
We do. So you can adopt the animals, which is a wonderful way of giving a gift that means more, which is our favourite saying. And again, we do gift guides. So you've probably seen us in some of the editorials. We're in newspapers, magazines, and we promote again through e-coms and social media. So you know, we're definitely not one of the biggest charities, but you know, the conservation message is there, and every penny helps to do what we love and what the animals need.
Do you guys work with a lot of volunteers, or is it mostly people who actually work for the organization?
I'll grab the UK bit, and then I'm sure Sophia will grab the overseas part. But from a UK perspective, we do have volunteers. I have some come in the office that will donate their time, which is really, really helpful. When we do the fun runs, we take over Port Lympne and Howlett once a year and do a 5k charitable run. We get volunteers from companies, people that have been to the parks that just love us. We get some of the Cub and Scout associations helping out doing the volunteering. So we have been really lucky. We also have a wider team, who do our face-to-face fundraising. So they go around the park and sign up people for the adoptions and the regular giving. And Sophia, what about volunteers overseas?
So we do have certain projects that will accept volunteers. So our project in Indonesia, in Western East Java, they will occasionally accept volunteers. They are national volunteers from country, and again, it's a form of spreading awareness and providing further education to individuals interested in our works. We do have some permanent volunteers that are on a volunteer contracted basis, and they will do either 6 or 12 months with us. So yes, we do have different volunteer programs depending on where in the world we are.
Going on that, I have a question. How do you start this conversation, or how do these people find you in the local countries when maybe they have a different perspective of what the animals should be doing? Or I'm trying to think, for example, let's say Thailand, they're known for using elephants. Elephants help them carry heavy logs and stuff like that. So they don't really see the problem with that. How do you communicate with a different culture, a different group of people without insulting their culture, basically?
Well, we do a lot of community work overseas, and Madagascar would be the perfect example of that. We do multiple different community projects whereby we set up a project that will benefit the community from either a food source or a financial source. And in return for that, there is an agreement drawn up whereby they will do population surveys of certain different lemur species within their area. So it's very much a give and take process in that element of our work, but we do a lot of education overseas, and our teams do regular missions whereby they will visit communities surrounding the reserves that we areas that we work in, and they will provide them with information on the animals, why these animals are so important, why they are endangered, what their numbers in the wild truly are, what the community can do to avoid human wildlife conflict, what they can do to better their community, and how we can help them do that. So there's an awful lot of work with regards to local communities and spreading awareness and keeping education moving in the right direction, so that the animals are as protected as we can possibly make them. Obviously, a lot of the areas that we work in are very remote in any case. But the areas that we work in that are more highly populated, education is the key tool that we use.
I think one of my favourite stories when I joined the Aspinall Foundation was that, particularly in South Africa, when the poaching was happening with the rhinos during the lockdown and COVID, obviously a lot of the poachers were having to poach because of their family needs. And due to some of the education that we provided, that actually have some poachers that have turned into rangers and actually protecting the animals as opposed to poaching. So I think that whole education piece, seeing it from the beginning to the end, and understanding and becoming part of the community is such an important message, and it's very much at the heart of what we do.
Yeah, the communication to communities, to the local people, and through social media as well is probably one of the biggest parts of your job for most of you, probably. What are some of the challenges? Because it's not always easy, I can imagine.
No, it's not an easy world to work in. We face challenges on a daily basis, whether that be the terrain that we're working in, the internet connectivity, the logistics of getting a direct flight for an animal from one area to another. We recently, I say recently, it wasn't that recent, it was in the January of 2021, so 2 years ago now. Time flies when you're having fun. We rewilded 2 captive-born cheetah from Canada. We partnered with Park Safari in Canada, and we rewilded a captive pair of cheetah brothers to Emiri Rhino Conservation Centre in Zimbabwe. And we had a real task to try and find a direct flight that wasn't going to be detrimental to the animal's welfare in order to action that move. So there are a whole array of different challenges that we will face within the industry, and we work our way around them.
Yeah, that's a job then, probably.
Exactly that. That's what makes it so exciting.
You mentioned something about partnerships, and it got me thinking, like, how important, or can you maybe give us some examples of partnering up with other charities, other organizations, maybe governments? How does it affect your work? How does it help your work as well? Because it must be quite important.
Well, it affects our work massively, and it obviously helps us enormously to have the right agreements and memorandums of understanding in place, whether that be with another NGO, an individual, a government. We work with so many different people to achieve our end goal. For example, we have agreements with the Congolese government and with the Javan ministries to rewild captive-born animals, but also to rescue orphaned animals to bushmeat or the illegal pet trade. We actually work in conjunction with the Gabonese and Congolese governments to protect over 1 million acres of wild forest land across the 2 countries. So that, yes, the partnership is a huge part of the work that we do, and we wouldn't be where we are without it.
I can imagine that. So what are like, looking back in the last years, what are some of the things in your work that you like, campaigns that you've run or different projects that you've done that you're most proud of? What is something that you can maybe remember still that you're like, I'm so proud of us that we did
Shall
that?
we do a shall we do one each, ladies?
Yeah.
Because I've definitely got one.
Yeah.
So
I bet you've got more than one, Sophia.
Oh, I've got so many. But I think the proudest achievement of the foundation for me personally is that we have proved that captive-born rewilded gorillas can produce wild-born offspring in the in the wild. We had the first ever in the history of the world wild birth of a baby gorilla to 2 captive-born parents in June of 2021. The little miracle baby Tali is now 19 months old, and she is the joy of my working life.
One of mine was the move that we did last year. Actually, I felt I've only been with the foundation for just over a year, and I was really lucky to work with our partners and in getting Azzy and Zazu, our lion cubs, back from Kent back to South Africa. And although I wasn't there on site and as hands-on as Sophia and everything, I was working with some amazing partners that helped us in getting them there. So it's not just about financial funding. Obviously that's incredible when a company can do that for us or an individual can do that for us, but in terms of gifts in kind, you know, donating flights, donating transport, anything like that, and just to see the journey of them going home, and to see the images on WhatsApp of them at the airport, and then when they got out there and them sunbathing in the sunset, I just felt really proud and quite emotional to be part of that. It felt like I'd really, you know, we'd made a difference as a team. So that's definitely mine for the last year, definitely.
I've been here 3 years now, and a bit like Sophia, I'm sort of trying to pick which one's been my favourite. I suppose first and foremost, one of the things I'm so proud of is that the organisation is 40 years old next year. I mean, what an amazing achievement. You know, when I talk about world first and, you know, leaders in conservation, I think that's just such a wonderful message. But a bit like Fiona, my favourite project that we did was, I'd been here about 3 weeks, and we translocated 2 cheetahs from Howlett's Wild Animal Park in Canterbury over to Mount Camdebou in South Africa. And I'm absolutely delighted to say that Nairo, one of the brothers, has had babies out there. So we have helped with the meta population. So that's all very exciting. And one of our favourite things is getting the WhatsApps of the cute cheetahs. So yeah, I mean, we've all got lots of stories, but I think that was probably one of my favourites. I felt hands-on, was at the press breakfast there for the move, and then it's how the story continues. So their legacy lives on, you know, we've got the stories living on. So it's a really nice message. So that's my favourite.
There's so many, aren't there? I've got another one as well.
We haven't mentioned Joshi. So we can share these all with you.
I mean, I would love to hear more about them, because hearing you guys share these experiences, it really touches us and it moves us, and I think that other people, it inspires them to want to help out, because there's human emotion, that's something that we can all connect with. And I think looking through, for example, YouTube and Instagram, you guys post these updates, and it's very sweet, and it's moments like that I think people they connect with, and it encourages them to want to make a difference. And that's something that you guys are doing a great job at, I think.
Yeah, it's great to encourage different members of our community by those platforms as well. You know, we get people from all over the world who are getting in touch with us saying, how can we help? You know, we want to be able to help in some way, and that's incredible. So I'll definitely send you guys a copy of our Wild Cry, the magazine that Sam was talking about, because that's it's really lovely. Our supporters get that twice a year, and they look forward to receiving it, don't they? So it's really interesting. It's got updates from our partner parks, as well as you know, stories from across the world as well. So I'll definitely send you a copy of that. Something else that we do is we talked about the work that we do in South Africa. director who runs the teams out there. He's incredible, and we do webinars with him as well, which are really interesting. And we've got a link from a webinar we did at the end of last year, back in November, which was really interesting. And he gave updates on the work that we've done specifically in South Africa in terms of rewilding the animals, but also some amazing rescue work that we've done and everything as well. So I'll send you a copy of that link, because that's been really popular with our supporters and donors as well. So it'd be good to share that with you too.
Thank you so
yes,
much.
fantastic.
That's amazing. So you just mentioned, you know, next year is going to be a big year. You guys are going to have a 40-year anniversary.
Yeah.
What are some of the plans? Can you share something with us that you're going to do next year, or something special? Or
Yeah, from all aspects. So we want to hear from all of you.
Well, I'll jump in. I mean, the biggest project that we're working on is probably the biggest project the conservation has seen and will see for some time. We're working with some partners to translocate our herd of elephants from Howlett's Wild Animal Park over to Kenya. You know, it is our strongest message that we believe where possible these animals should be living in the wild. And this is absolutely us as a charity putting our money where our mouth is and saying this is what we're going to do. Sophia will completely, this comes with a lot of logistics, and we're by no means at a confirmed date or anything yet, but it's certainly the project I'm most excited about and working on. Sophia, over to you.
Yes, it's been a long 5 years to get to where we're at now. This isn't something that we've been working on for 5 minutes, and I think it'd take us a bit more than 5 minutes more to get it all finalised, but it is definitely an exciting project, and the biggest that I've worked on in my conservation career, definitely. We also have a number of other rewilding projects upcoming. We are in the process of organising the logistics to rewild the UK's only on-show honey badger. So there are a very limited population of honey badger in EU captivity, only about 20 of them. So it's not a viable population from a genetic point of view, which is why we're not opting to send her somewhere to breed. But we have found a really lovely, suitable home for her in South Africa. We're in the process of organising the logistics for that. We've also got 9 Javan gibbons and 5 Javan langurs that we're in the process of organising the logistics for rewilding back to Java. We have some other species as well that are on the list. So Debrasa monkeys to certain different areas. We have Red River hogs as a potential, roan antelope. We're in the process of breeding forest buffalo in the hope that we'll be able to find a project for them in the Congo in the near future. We have contacts in Romania regarding rewilding European bison, and many more. So a very busy year coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just sort of engaging with the community as well, you know, across our community of people that are interested in us celebrating the 40 years and how they can get involved. We've got a meeting in a few weeks' time to discuss what that will look like in terms of the local community, but in terms of, you know, how can they support us, whether that be, you know, run 40 miles or definitely, you know, local events and key events around the 40 celebration. It's definitely something to be celebrated. So yeah, watch this space. We'll come back to you on those events as well.
Super interesting. Well, to kind of bring it to an end, I'm very curious because, you know, so far I've been listening, and you guys are obviously quite a successful and large organization. You do a lot of good stuff, great stuff in the whole world, and you've been doing it for such a long time. So what are 3 or 5 things or keys to your success? What made the organization so successful?
Should we take a couple each?
I would say number 1 is determination.
Yeah, and I also think us being an authentic brand, you know, the whole voice, you know, where the charity was started from, right through to everyone that works here. We absolutely eat, breathe and sleep our vision and mission statement, which I think gives us a very authentic voice in what we do. So I think that's also important.
I would say passion as well. I think, you know, across everyone you speak to, whether it be, you know, any of the keepers down at the park to any of the team, you know, overseas, or all of us in the office, you know, we're all extremely passionate about what we do. So I think that's got to be one of the drivers to keep us going.
I also think the experience and the way that we do things, you know, we are leaders in conservation because of the way we do things. We take time to study, prepare, make sure it's done properly and properly executed. So I think that's another reason why we've been so successful for such a number of years.
And from my side of things, I would definitely say, you know, preparation and determination is two of the things that keep us on track. We prepare adequately and we are determined to prove that it's achievable.
And it's obviously a long-term game in most of what you guys do. It's not like you just said, like a campaign or a big project. It's not done in 5 days. It's not prepared in 5 days. It takes years.
Yes.
And like you said, determination.
It's consistency and determination. It's a combination of things, but the fact that, you know, we're all really passionate and we all truly believe in what we're working towards.
Yeah, you can definitely see that you guys are very passionate, all of you. So yeah, thank you so much for this chat. It's been lovely, and we hope to keep in touch with you as well.
Yeah,
and I'm very keen to see what's coming up.
Yeah, you guys really, it's been very inspiring to hear everyone's different take, and it just comes to show how what you were saying, the big success of your organization is you can see that you're all very committed to it, and yeah, I'm excited to see what else you guys do.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. We're definitely keep in touch, and really keen for, you know, the exposure and the platform to help us in getting the word out of the work that we do as well. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Lovely to virtually meet you. Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
You too.
Bye.